was expecting to see. I was not expecting to see this, but this does my heart proud. People, Chinatown is back. This is New York City, Chinatown. Now, when I came here last, this was less than maybe 2 months ago. I came down here. Everything you see was completely vacant. Everything you see here was shut. They were closed. There were no cars on the street here. I don't know what happened, but God bless them. Chinatown seems to be recovering pretty well. I mean, I know a lot of them shut down because there were a lot of hate crimes going, well, not so much a lot, but there was an increase in the amount of hate crimes that were directed towards those who were of Asian descent. And all because of, this came from China, the Wuhan Sultan, whatever they want to name it, all those other silly little stupid stuff. So a lot of dumb idiots, they would they'd throw some bottles through glass windows, attack some of the people here of Asian descent. But this was all gone. So I think a lot of them shut down out of fear. And then when things got really intense, they shut down because, Cuomo, he told everybody, I don't care if you go hungry, you're not allowed to work. So all of this was just completely void. I'm in shock right now seeing all of this because the last memory I had of Chinatown was it was empty. There was not a single person or car here. I could literally walk up and down in the middle of these streets. Nobody would say anything because there was nobody there to say anything. So this is kind of impressive seeing Chinatown kind of come back after everything that happened. The stores seem to be in full swing. They're spilling their merchandise out in the middle of the streets like they did back in the old days. So this is it's impressive, I guess after that hiccup, people just had to say, you gotta suck it up and get back to work. And that's what people are doing. They're trying to do anyway. Government is not making it easy, but people are still trying to get back to their jobs, get back to their way of life. The real normal, not the new normal. But they're trying, and God bless them for being able to. Oh God, what is this street? This is 6th Avenue. This is at the very end, near Avenue of the Americas. You come down from FDR Drive, you cut across Grand Street, cut across Houston, and you get to the very end and make that right turn, and that is where we are right here, you guys. Now, let me tell you something about New York City. Just past the famous Greenwich Avenue. Everybody, you see what I'm seeing. This is not the New York City that I know. People, this is Saturday. Manhattan. New York City on the weekend. And there is no traffic here. Now, if you have never been to New York City, you may look at this and you may think, oh, average looking city. No way. This is very quiet, very empty. We are not getting caught by too many lights. The first light we got caught, we went down, I think maybe around, before I started taping, we did around maybe 10-15 blocks. You would never go 10 to 15 blocks driving in New York City without being stopped in the same block you were just in. This is definitely some very interesting traffic patterns and very interesting populations that are out right now. This really does show you this is a reduction. This is coming from a New Yorker. I love seeing the people out there. They're foolishly wearing masks, whether you like it or not, don't care. But they're out here wearing these masks, and we've got a nice little amount of people here. But there were times when these crosswalks would be so congested that the cars could not get through. We're driving through effortlessly almost. Here on 13th Street, you have a few places open here. A few little pots open right now. How adorable is that? But in some of the places, we got a few buildings that are going to be coming up. West 14th Street here. That's something that amazes me. Even in a recession, regression, whatever they want to call this, I have never seen so many luxury buildings being built. There are dozens of these luxury condominiums being built all over New York City, Manhattan, the Bronx. They're going up like playing with dominoes, man. I mean, it's huge. And these are not small developments. You know, they're like 10 to 20 stories in height, luxury, marble floors, fountain in the foyer, a concierge. I mean, this is some incredible buildings that are being constructed right now during a time when people are supposed to be, you know, really out of money. So, but it goes to show you that middle class is out of money, but the upper class, the upper crust people, you know, they're building these buildings for them. So this is Manhattan right now. This is Manhattan, smooth, very, you know, open, nowhere near as noisy, very quiet. I have to honestly, know that sounds kind of weird coming from a New Yorker, talking about New York, but this area is very quiet. Normally, we have the windows down. We will not be able to have the windows down because it would be too noisy. But this is my city. This is where I used to be. I used to come down here for drama classes, come down here to go to work. But this is part of it right here. So this is just little pieces I'm going to be showing you guys. So it won't be that much commentary until we get someplace. But you'll see little pockets of the city here and there. This is part of New York now, the eating in the parking spaces. Friends told me about all of these. These are the new rent bikes. I don't know what they call them, city bikes, I think, that they have here. I think they did this under, oh God, who? Bloomberg, I think he was the mayor. The mayor Bloomberg, he was the one who kind of, because we were living in New York City when he was mayor, and it was around the last of his, well, I say this about Bloomberg. He had 2 real terms, and he had one where he kind of just took over and just stuck around. Because I don't remember anybody, whatever. But I remember either it was during the last of his real term or the beginning portion of his takeover term. But he instituted these bikes. These are all bikes. You can come up, you rent them, swipe your card, and the bike unlocks, and then you can just ride it anywhere in the city. You just have to put it back inside of one of those little click centers, I guess. So you can ride that around Manhattan, the Bronx, Staten Island, Queens, Brooklyn. As long as you put that bike back inside of one of those, you'll be fine. And then you'll be stopped charging. So it charges you by the hour. I think by the hour you can rent those. And when you're done, you put it back in one of those little centers. And it clicks back in, then it stops charging you. But you have to use a credit card or a debit card. But this is one thing that a lot of New Yorkers who drive, like I did, we weren't really happy with this because it turned New York City from a driver's city into a pedestrian city. And one thing about New York, you cannot share a street with people who walk in with bikes. There are too many cars. We got over 5,000 taxis alone that were here in New York City before the shutdown. I don't know how many there are right now, but we had over 5,000 taxis. When we say New York City, we mean in Manhattan. We don't mean all 5 boroughs. So when we say New York City, we mean there were 5,000 of these yellow cabs like this in Manhattan, New York before the shutdown. And they were around 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So when you try to take these cabs, Then they compete with regular cars, delivery people, tourists who rent cars, people who walk, bicycles. Now you have these types of bicycles. The chaos, the traffic chaos that ensued was horrible. So, yeah, a lot of New Yorkers who drive were not happy about, these bikes that were here. But, we're not here, so I ain't gotta deal with them. But this is another little pocket of New York City, kind of famous. I believe, are we near the Macy's? Yes, we're near West 34th Street. That's the famous Macy's. That is the famous 34th Street Macy's right there. Oh, that's one of those little rallies. Yeah, I ain't got nothing to say about that anyway. Don't want to get too political here, but whatever to them. But that was the famous Macy's on 34th Street. That's where they have all of those really grand window displays. So that was 34th Street right there. Saw a little police rally right over there. But we're heading down, continuing down 6th Avenue, heading down to 5th Avenue now. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the famous 42nd Street. IMAX movies, Regal. Now, in case you guys didn't hear about this, one of those movie theaters took a shot at Governor Cuomo because he once again shut down all the movie theaters in New York City. Shutting down over, I think it was around 10,000 jobs. So that's what wound up happening. So they opened up, I believe they opened up 1 week. Supposedly there was a rise in cases and he shut them all down the very next week. Oh, this is something that you guys have to know. This is Aladdin. This is the theater district. 42nd Street is part of the theater district. You can see right here, Aladdin is shut down. They're all dead in the water right now. There's nothing left. Yeah, that's one of the little street performers. And what's sad about the street performers is that so many of them, as you can see them all here, a lot of them were making their entire income was based upon the tourism trade. And when the tourism trade shut down, there were no people coming in. Nobody wanted to care about getting a picture of Elmo or with Mickey Mouse or with Spider-Man or with the Hulk or with Thor. So a lot of those guys wound up literally, a lot of those guys are really like 2 steps away from being homeless themselves. And a lot of them actually sadly did become homeless because when they shut down New York City, there was nothing here. They weren't allowed to come out to work, and when they were able to come back out onto the streets, social distancing told them you can't get within 6 feet of anybody. So you can't take pictures with anyone, you can't do anything in that regard now. So so a lot of those guys, they're losing their jobs. They're practically homeless. They were already practically homeless before. Now a lot of them are on those soup kitchen lines now. You saw Aladdin shut down. 42nd Street, famous place here, very empty. There was a time when all of these places, these are all high. This is like this is Bank of America Tower. There are, oh god, I can't even tell you how many North American headquarters are in that building. So many Fortune 500 companies and Fortune 100 companies were in that building. So a lot of the North American headquarters were there, and they're not there anymore. So many of these office buildings are dead in the water right now. And I mean like floors and floors of open space, open for rent at reduced rates now. Because, who can afford to spend $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a month rent for one floor when you're having to one, cut down on your employee, 2, your profits are down by more than 50%. So you're not going to be able to have money for the rent, for the utilities, for these locations. So everybody's going to wind up going on to work from home. And with the work from home job, you're seeing a lot of them now are increasing in responsibilities. So when before you had people who were, head of one sector, now they're going to be the head of 2 sectors. So now you're just seeing all these companies, all these Fortune 500, 100 companies, they're expanding on they're not so much requirements, they're expanding on the responsibilities while minimizing the amount of people who are employed by them now. So this is New York City. This is really New York City. I've never been down here where it was this empty, really. You know, this is still, we have 42nd Street and 5th Avenue. Yeah, this is 42nd Street, 5th Avenue. This is where all the shops are, all the high-end $2,000 for a pair of underwear shops are. This is where all of them are. And as you can see, there is very few people, even tourists, very few tourists are even here right now.